Okay, now we are going to go live after 20 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Are we recording the session?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're live on Facebook.
All right. Thank you, Miriam.
Go ahead. Thank you. So hello, everyone, and welcome to today's 7th international webinar. So in this seminar, we will tackle a very important topic. I mean, this year has indeed been one of the toughest years, not only in Morocco, but all over the world. Every year is defined by some important moments, but the past 6 months have contained so many world-changing developments, which necessitated the use of ICT, especially in the educational system. Our guest speakers today are going to talk to us about this vital issue or question, which is the use of ICT a must, or it is a choice after the current circumstances? So before diving deep into this topic, I would like to introduce myself first, as I'm the moderator of this talk. So my name is Mariam Borwah, and I'm a student in the University of Mohammed V, and I majored in cultural studies. I'm a trainee in the TEFL program with Mr. Hussein Qsaraz and a young leader in the Global Bus Foundation, also known as GBF. To introduce GBF very briefly for the ones who don't know what it aims at and how it works, Global Best Foundation is a non-governmental organization based in Morocco. It focuses on empowering others, mainly youth and teachers, to give by offering them many services like facilitating things on people to give presentations or conduct workshops, as well as offering TEFL courses and organizing seminars and conferences. It focuses also at building people's skills related to leadership, global education, and peace building. GBF has trained and coached both youth and teachers in several countries such as Vietnam, China, India, Tunisia, Spain, and in many more places. As you might see, we work not only locally, but also globally, for we do believe in changing lives through empowering others and be the amplifier that makes people's voices heard. So in this webinar, we have 5 astonishing speakers. Before introducing them, it's just 4, 4 astonishing speakers. Before introducing them, I want to thank them on behalf of GBF community for the time, effort, and dedication to first be present, and second, for sharing the common precious information that we will all get eventually. So the first speaker is Mr. Bibas Tapa, who is an English language lecturer at Hetuda campus. He is an ICT cell coordinator and American English e-teacher. Not to forget, he has a TESOL of 150 hours from Arizona State University, and he has done more than 20 MOOCs, or as known as massive open online courses on uses of ICT from Cambridge University, British Council, Canvas, etc. He is ambassador of dozens of digital tools like Nearpod, Seesaw, Flipgrid, and many more. He has presented papers and conducted workshops in national and international conferences regarding uses of digital tools, academic writing, semantics and pragmatics, phonetics and phonology. His main passion and dedication is helping teachers to integrate ICT into ELT classroom. In his part of the webinar, he will tackle the technology-enhanced language learning. Our second speaker is Ms. Stormy Daniels. Ms. Stormy Daniels is a teacher, an MIE expert, and master trainer. She is a Flipgrid student voice ambassador, Apple teacher, Cecil certified educator, Class Dojo ambassador, and global Minecraft education mentor. In her talk, she will be talking to us about the power of the PowerPoint in remote engagement. Our third speaker is Ms. Hafsa Kazim, who is a language instructor. She is an MA holder in English from Punjab University in Pakistan, a teacher trainer, and a member of the examination committee. She had earned many awards and honorary recognitions. One of them is the Outstanding Teachers Award from King Abdulaziz University, Jeddah in KSA. She worked in many places from Pakistan to KSA, and she has conducted many workshops dealing with teaching, managing stress, and on other topics. In today's talk, she will address the benefits and challenges of integrating ICT in EFL and ESL classrooms. And last but not least, our last speaker is Mr. Abdelmunaim Ghmidi, who works as an EFL teacher in Sidi Slimane. In fact, he is the first Moroccan to become a Go Branch ambassador. He is an MA TOEFL holder from Ibn Tufayl University in Kenitra. He has been interested in CPG, which stands for Continuing Professional Development, as he has attended several MOOCs and webinars empowered by national and international universities and schools. His research interests include, among others, of course, educational psychology, ICT and remote teaching, classroom management, and feedback and language assessment. In the seminar, he will talk about teaching online, and he will give us some hints and tips on this matter. So before we start, I just want to say it's such an honor to have you all here with us today. Thank you to our wonderful speakers, and without forgetting also our attendees too. Just a small reminder, every speaker will have 20 to 25 minutes. Then we will be answering 1 or 2 questions depending on the time left after each presentation, okay? As for our attendees, we would love to hear from you. Please, if you have any questions, write them in the chat box, and just make sure to write your full name and your country along with your questions. So let's get started with our first speaker, Mr. Bibas, right?
Yeah.
Bibas Kappa, yeah. The floor is yours.
Thanks to Global Bus moderator, Mariam, for this wonderful opportunity. It's my honor, pleasure, and privilege to be amongst you all. Good evening from Nepal. So it may be the Greenwich Mean Time may be different. So it may be day in your country. So it's here 11 p.m. in Nepal. So good evening. Thank you all of you, especially Mariam, a moderator, as well as Global Bosch, all the organizers and so on. So today here I'll be sharing with you uses of technology enhanced learning, how the technology enhanced learning. So one more thing that proudly we can say that at the present moment in this COVID pandemic 19 situations, we are compelled to crawl in the uses of ICT. There is no any other options. Whether we use Skype, Zoom, or different Google tools, at least we have to do something rather than waiting, because in this period, it also provides us opportunity to share or to learn the new tools and to see each other faces also. For instance, now from the use of technology only, we could see each other's face and can run the session. So at the present moment, doctors are saving the world, and we teachers are proud to say that we are saving the world. Now, let me start my presentation on the slide, respected educators. Yeah, so let me explain from here. Teachers will not be replaced by the technology, but teachers who don't use technology will be replaced by those who do at the present moment. It's really challenging for the experienced teachers. How many years of experiences you have got, whether you have got 10 years or 12 or 15 years of experiences teaching, but if you don't use the technology, then you will be easily replaced by the novice teacher who has just recently entered in the teaching field. So that's why it's really challenging for all of us. Let's learn something. If we can't fly, then run. If we can't run, then let's walk. If we can't walk, also at least let's crawl in the field of ICT. So respected educators now, yeah, the doctors are they are saving the world, and we teachers, it's challenge for us to save the world, and it's our responsibility also. Let's feel proud in our profession, utilize the technology, and let's enhance our learning. So today my session is on the same topic, how technology enhances learning. So before I start my session here, how technology enhanced learning, what are the opportunities, what are the challenges? So the interesting field that I have been working is, I'm working as different tools and TESOL certified educator, working as Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, Global Trainer Academy Nepal coordinator, ICT Cell coordinator, SOE, as well as Flipgrid, Wakelet, CISA, Nearport, ClassDojo, and so many other dozens of tools. I have been sharing in the same tools, and more than 50 plus international session has been shared on the same topic. It means that the technology have given us or given me this opportunity to share my experiences. So let's hear. Now, today's I have got the three objectives. What are the purposes? Within this short span of time, technology enhanced learning is the broad term. The term technology enhanced learning is a broad term, but within 20 minutes, it's really difficult for me to explore all the ideas, but I will try to share the main gist, main things of it. And what's the purpose for today's session? How the use of technology opens up the opportunities for learning. How the technology opens opportunities for learning. How technology enables different types of learning. And the third one is how it affects language use. So around these three terms, three purposes, my topics will go in today's session. So this is just the example of technology that we have been using. By sitting in the one corner of the room, we can do online courses like massive open online courses, global open online courses, and AE American English teachers courses by sitting in one corner of the room. I'm here in Nepal, so it may be impossible or difficult for me to be in US to do these sorts of course. But by sitting in one corner of the room, I have done more than 20 plus certificates from different reputed university of the world. My dear, all the respected educators, isn't the technology working here? Yes, because now I have been not only teaching to my Nepalese students, I have been teaching to the international student also. When I teach international students, I can learn new methodology. I can be familiar with new technology, and those technology, those methodology by using the technology, when I learn, I share to my students. And in that way, the remote learning is taking place in my country, Nepal, as well as in the place where I work. So you can see the sample of certificates. The Cambridge University certificate, Cambridge University had offered me certificate. So these are the uses of technology. Now, not only the technology, from here, the inductive way I'm exploring all these things. We have celebrated International Dancing Day. So with the help of technology, how the technology enhanced learning, not only learning, those learners, as we know, there are different types of learner, kinesthetic learner, auditory learner, and so many learner styles are there. As Gardner has also, 2006 also has mentioned that there are multiple intelligence. So for enhancement of creativity of learner also, we can use the technology. Technology really supports us. We can bring outside world into the real classroom. For instance, you can see in the picture, this is practical. I did it. I did International Dancing Day. I celebrate International Dancing Day in my school. So my students, they dance in their cultural uniform or cultural song, and the foreign students, they dance in their way. So in this way, we can also enhance language plus cultural as well as creativity activities also can be enhanced. So let's feel proud that we are the 21st century educator. And all the respected educators, as we know that at the present moment, we are in the 21st century era. Facebook needs update, Google needs update, even the Gmail needs update. We are the 21st century educator. So don't you have to be updated at the present moment? Yes. Obviously, we have to be updated at the present time. So let's update with technology. And the technology brings really outside world into the real classroom. I can proudly say that as Nepal is one of the developing country, but in my school where I have been teaching, my students, English is not the first language or the mother tongue. It belongs to third or fourth language for many students. In this case, they can speak confidently because I have been using technology for them in connecting Skype or doing borderless session. So let's use the technology. These are just the pictures that I have been doing for enhancement of quality of education in my community school. So now here, call to tell. Earlier it was the call time, computer assisted language learning. Now it's the period of technology enhanced language learning. Call to tell. The time has been changed. One student don't have to be in front of the computer at the present moment to do his tasks. By using the different gadgets as well as mobile phone, he can write, he can print, and he can do many tasks. Multi-purpose activities can be done. So one should not be, or as computer is ubiquitous at the present moment, but if you don't use computer also, without depending on computer also, we can replace those computers by using different other technologies, and we can complete our tasks. So the time has changed now. It's the innovative period. So computer assisted language learning has changed into technology enhanced language learning. Now we are talking about technology enhanced language learning. So called transitions to TALES and computer assisted learning. TALE, now look, see here the example. Write essay on their students, they write essay on their smartphones and send to printer. They don't have to sit in front of the computer to do any task. So here technology really, it's really fruitful. It enhanced our learning as well as enhanced our creative activities also. It makes us innovative and brings the outside world into the real classroom. From the use of technology today, how we be able to speak confidently? Because the same technology make us to connect with the Moroccan teachers, and US teachers, Australian teachers, and all the teachers of the world. So the technology enhanced our learning. Whatever the day, whatever the activities that I learn, I hear from other outsider respected educators, I implement, I get new idea. Can you imagine that? Being in Nepal, for the first time, I will be familiar with Wakelet, Flipgrid. Similarly, there are so many tools that I learned from international educators. So how it be possible? By using the technology. So I can't explain the importance of technology here, how it helps in our language learning, because the technology has supported me a lot. Earlier, I had a session with Mrs. Daniels, Tommy Daniels. So the same the technology, because at that time many educators, they were watching our session, and from that session they got the new idea, new concept regarding PowerPoint as well as Wakelet, Sway, and so many other tools they will be able to use. So that's why we have to be thankful to technology, and the same technology has made us to connect at the present moment too. So now here, what does the technology enhanced learning means? Technology enhanced learning refers to a face-to-face course supported by one or more technology in or out of the classroom for the purpose of enhancing or facilitating the learning experience. there may be questions, respected educators, that in the pandemic situations, COVID-19, where the internet access is not good, in that condition, how can we enhance learning? That may be the questions for remote or the remote learners or the teachers. So where there is the will, there is the way. We can do offline courses too. We can use ubiquitous, we can use learning management systems, we can use Flipgrid, we can use Kahoot, we can use quizzes, and so on. So these are the activities, or these are the tools that we can use. Isn't this the part of technology? Yeah, from the technology we get it. So that's why we have to build this strong determination, passion, integrating ICT into the classroom. That matters a lot here. Technology enhanced learning is not a teaching method, but rather an approach that can be used alongside the teaching method to help teach. So here, technology enhanced learning means whatever the ideas we get, whatever the subject matter we learn, really technology supports us. At the present moment, the English language, by using the English language, we can use the technology quickly, and let's utilize those technology. As earlier I had shown you the pictures of my Cambridge certificate, Oxford University, Arizona State University, and so on. So these all are the possible results of technology because it enhanced my learning. So let's utilize the technology in the right way. Now, how does technology enhance language learning? The main things come here. As technology appeals to a variety of learning styles, auditory or tactile. There are different styles of learners. As multiple intelligence mentioned by Howard Gardner in 2006, kinesthetic learners are over there. Some learners, they understand quickly by hearing some others. Some learners, they are verbal, some are physical, some are kinesthetics, the same one, and some learners, they are introverts, and some are the extrovert. Different styles of learners we are teaching at the present moment. Our classroom is not the homogeneous, it's the heterogeneous. So our classroom consists of different levels of learner. So when we use the technology, our learner, they can see the pictures. As we know that one picture equals to 1,000 words. So when they see a picture, then that picture explains more than 1,000 words. So from the technology, by using the technology, it helps our whatever the learners styles they are having, they can quickly adapt, they can quickly grasp the meaning, they can view it, they can realize, and they can generalize and get some idea regarding when you use the technology. So when you use the technology, it's focused on language skills, the important skills. At present moment, what's the main objective of teaching English? The main objective of teaching English here is to make our learners communicate without hesitating and stumbling at the middle. So that is the main objective of teaching English. And when we use the technology, our learner really, they feel glad, they don't be monotonous, they enjoy, and they focus on listening, speaking, reading, and writing actively without depending on teachers. So that's why the technology meets the objectives of teaching English also. That's why the technology really supports in our language learning. It promotes and sustains students' engagement. When teachers provide tasks to a student, the student may not like to do it actively, but when they play with the technology, then really it promotes and sustains students' engagement. Let me provide one example over here. As we all are familiar with the Nearpod digital tool, as I'm working as Nearpod ambassador too. So Nearpod digital tool, or quizzes, or Kahoot, or Flipgrid. So when they use these sorts of tools in the form of by using the technology, really even they don't feel any boring. They want to continue their classes and so on. So that's why it sustains engagement also. Provide access to material resources. As already have informed, it brings outside world into the real classroom. So the students don't have to depend on the teacher when they use the technology. they can be freedom, they can have independence, and they can source the materials, they can get millions of materials, whatever the materials they like. So in this current pandemic COVID situations, if the students or all the educators use the technology really, it supports their learning, language learning also. So for instance, another one, massive open online courses. So if you are interested, you can enroll it. It's free of cost. So you can utilize your COVID period or lockdown situations easily. You don't have to do other any tasks. But for that, there must be a strong dedication to use the technology, and then only it supports our learning or it supports our language. Now,
I'm sorry, Mr. Bibas, I hate to interrupt, but you still have 5 minutes.
okay, thank you for reminding me. So technology improves the motivation and develops a better attitudes in students towards learning. So let me not read all these things, really it motivates us. So in the technology regarding here, what we have been using and I have been using, let me share with you in shortly. English Grammar Ultimate app. So this is the app that you can use, and it's mentioned grammar is in my pocket. So please use this app as I have been using Grammarly, English Grammar Ultimately app. It's the best for all of you. And we have a dream. If you have a dream to be like a native English speaker, so you can also listen Voice of America English listening. At least it supports in our speaking or in listening also. So it improves our listening skill. I have been utilizing using these apps too. Another one is Coursera, www.coursera.com for massive open online courses. So these are the tools that I have been using to enhance my learning. And when I enhance my learning, I can meet the educators like you. The importance is that one. So and another one is that sometimes when you write and we lose our confidence for writing essay, at that condition also we can check in app.grammarly.com. app.grammarly.com supports our checks our writing, whether our writing is grammatically correct or not. So readability tools is also over there. Speech to text, which in which language or in which tone would you like to listen in English, that can be converted from speech to text. So our speech can be converted into text. We don't have to write. Also here another one is grammar checker. So these are the tools, apps that I have been using and would like to request all the respected educators to use it. So there are so many tools that Socrative tools is also over there. So I don't have enough time because as already I have informed that technology enhanced learning here. I'm here to enhance, I'm here to show only the importance, share my experiences, but I can't explain all those things because technology enhanced learning is the broad terms. So Socrative tools you can use and so on. So this is the end of my session, please. Thank you, respected educator. Now over to Mariam, moderator.
Thank you so much for this amazing talk. Yes, indeed, using technology is a vital matter to stand out both for teachers and also for students. And it doesn't only enhance learning, as you said, it also enhances the creativity of our learners. It can bring many cultures closer together, and it can enhance our learning through destroying the gaps between countries, and it brings us all closer to each other. And also it makes learning fun. So I don't think there is a question, but I have a question for you, Mr. Bibas. So do you think that by using technology in our classes, we will get to destroy or even bring down just a little the stereotypes and prejudices that we have, or that we were programmed from like a very young age? What do you think?
Pardon, please, may I get the question again?
I said, like, do you think by using technology in our classes, will it like bring or destroy some of our prejudices or stereotypes on other cultures or on other people in general?
Okay, thank you, respected educator Mariam, moderator. So, what's the at first? Let me make you focus that we are in the 21st century, and the world is our globe village. It has been converted into global village. So, in these conditions, we need to be familiar with other cultures, customs, traditions, norms. Really, it makes us feel proud that we are the 21st century educator as well as 20th century people, and the world is our home. It helps to develop our brotherhood relation. When one student learn other cultures, other customs, then it supports them for their futures, because we are not only the citizen of our country, we are the world's global citizens. So it really supports.
Thank you so much. Before Sibel writes her question, for our speakers, do you have any comments or any questions to add?
I would like to add, Mariam, to his response. I know from our country, when I connect my students globally to other students around the world, they don't have to wait until an adult tells them about people, because they've already met them. They already talk to children in other cultures, in other countries, and they may be on a different location on our planet, but they realize, young children 6 and 7 years old realize that we're all the same people. We were just born somewhere else. We do things a little differently, but they get this empathy for others that we can't teach that. And I think it's only through ICT being used appropriately that those students see a different world than we saw growing up. Yes, because I was born in the United States in Phoenix, Arizona, and I learned about people in books, or I watched it in a video, but I never talked to somebody across the globe as a child, right? And so I just wanted to add that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your interaction. There is just a question, like we will answer very quickly. Can you please elaborate on flipped? I think it's like the flipped learning. Excuse me, Mr. Bibas.
Yeah, please, of course.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I was,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, Flipgrid, yeah, surely I have been using this Flipgrid and also working as Flipgrid certified educator. So thank you for the questions. And if you are working as Microsoft, joining in Microsoft community, then I'm sure that the Flipgrid is not new for you. But if you are new, Flipgrid helps us to exchange the cultural programs with other students. In Flipgrid, we record our videos and send to other educators, other students, and they also record their videos and send us through the code. So Flipgrid, those students even who don't have enough time to type and send, in that situations, in that conditions, the student can record their video, their cultures, and can share with international other students. So Flipgrid is also one of the best tools that can be used as remote learning. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. One last question, and we will move on to the due to the time limitations. So Sibel said, how can one become an ambassador for edu technological apps and websites?
Okay, thank you. For that, you must practice a lot. And let me say some important things that at first, for instance, let me only tell you one tools like Nearpod or Seashore or ClassDojo, as Stormy Daniel is also over there, who is also working as ambassador. If you want to be it, so please, at first, learn some things regarding Nearpod. Share among other international educators. Then join international webinar and apply for the ambassador. And if you have shared a lot, and if you are working on it with your link, if you provide it, then you will be selected, you will be working as ambassador. These are the procedure. For that, You have to learn, you have to share, and they must have that dedication and passion, and you must show to the respected link, and then you will be selected as the ambassador of respected tools.
Thank you so much for your answer. So sorry for other questions. We might answer them later on. So what did I want to say? Oh my God. So now let's move on to the next speaker, Miss Stormy Daniels. The floor is yours. Can you hear me, Miss Stormy Daniels?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Yeah.
Okay,
Go
I'm
on.
going
You
to turn
have
my
20
camera
minutes.
off in the room because it's going to conflict with my presentation. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yes, and if at any time you can't hear me, can you let me know? Don't worry about interrupting. So,
Okay.
hello, thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share once again. And like Mr. Bibas has said, to become an ambassador, you really have to know a lot, but really more than that, you want to learn how to best use these tools for education, right? Of course, they're really cool technology. There's a lot of cool gadgets and things, but as we said in this morning's session, we are not technology teachers. Some of us might teach technology, but we are educators and we use ICT tools to engage students and provide them the best quality education possible, right? And that includes global connection. So in today's, I have 1,000 things I could share with you, but I only have 20 minutes. And my favorite thing to do with technology, of course, is to connect students. And in this world of remote learning and being disconnected from
I'm
the
sorry, Miss Danielle, sorry, but are you sharing your screen?
Yes, can you not see my screen?
No, what about other speakers?
No, we can't see.
Yeah, could
Okay.
you please stop sharing and reshare it again?
Okay, I apologize.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm just going to share the regular screen. And can you see my screen now? I guess I should
Yes.
ask.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. So I think you heard me, so I won't repeat it as my time has started. Today, I'm just going to talk about using PowerPoint. And I know often we think PowerPoint is just for adults to present, or students can make a presentation and give a report, and they have slides and they have a presentation. I'm going to show you today how PowerPoint really was the one tool I resorted to for most of remote learning. And again, these are young students, and I will be able to share this presentation, this Wakelet, with our audience so they can have the presentation, they can have my resources, they can have all of this learning and, you know, apply it to their position. So again, this is the Wakelet I will share with them. And I have first created a video to show you just the important parts, and because I really want you to hear students, young students, and how remote learning was successful for them based on the standards they had to learn. And they are 7 years old, so 6 and 7-year-olds are learning how to read, and that became very challenging in the distance learning. Continue to discover the power of PowerPoint. We want to think about remote learning in 2 different categories. So there's asynchronous learning, or learning that kids do on their own, at their own time, at their own pace, and we can provide that in many ways. There's also synchronous, where it's live, and this most resembles a classroom. And so in remote learning, this will look like a Zoom meeting perhaps, or a Teams meeting, or a Google Hangout, or whatever platform you're using, but you're one-on-one with the students. So we need to think about both of those ways of remote learning because they have 2 different purposes. So in remote learning, something very important to think about is the objective, of course, just like in the classroom. So before we meet with our students, we want to think about the objective or the task that they need to learn. What is our teaching? What do we want to teach, right? The teach. So the teach part of remote learning is probably best if we do it asynchronous, because a student can watch a recording of the lesson or the teaching of the lesson really at any time. And it's probably not a good use of our time connected to our students to be directly teaching and they're just sitting and listening to us. We really want to use that precious time that we are connected to them to
I'm sorry, Miss Danielle, I'm sorry.
and to answer any confusions.
People cannot hear you well. Could you please just raise your voice a little? Or like just stop the music? I'm sorry to interrupt.
They have, and to, work with them. So what we want to do before our meeting or before the class is to record the lesson, the teaching. And so I discovered that in PowerPoint, it's so simple to do this. So let me show you how this is done.
I'll be demoing how to record a slideshow with PowerPoint Desktop and Office 365. So I go to the File tab, and way down at the bottom I click Options. And we're going to enable the Recording tab, which many people don't know about. So go to Customize ribbon here, and you're going to scroll down, and there's this Recording little checkbox. I want you to click that, and we're going to turn on the magical Recording tab. So now, up on the ribbon, there's a recording. And look at all these options. And we're going to go to the first one and choose Record Slideshow. Click that button. So I'm in this special recording mode. Now look at this, I've got a little video at the lower right so I can record myself while I'm talking to students. I can turn the video on or off, so there's off, there's on. I can turn my microphone on or off as well. And what you see here is a record, stop, and a replay, plus a set of digital tools done here for inking or drawing. So let's click record. It gives me a countdown, getting ready. Hey class, welcome to my presentation. We'll be talking about solar system explorations. I can click this next slide here. So you can see the 5 planets, and I'm going to highlight, I'll click on this pen here, and we'll do it in red. Now I'm going to draw a little circle around Saturn because that's my favorite planet, and so on and so forth. So now I'm finished, and I'm going to click stop. So I've stopped the recording, and now I'm going to go back and just see how it looked. So let's click replay. In my presentation, we'll be talking about solar system explorations. So you can see how your presentation went. You can walk through it, you can hit stop. Now, when you're done, I'm just going to hit escape. Now, when I hit from the beginning to start my slideshow, watch this. In my presentation, we'll be talking about solar system exploration. When I hit the next slide, it goes. You can see the 5 planets, and I'm going to highlight, I'll click on this pen, to draw a little circle around Saturn. So the full presentation now has my video built in so students can watch, and that's part of this whole presentation that is saved. Now I can publish this to Microsoft Stream. I can export this all to video. So I'm going to say publish this to Stream. Now I can give it the solar system, allow everyone, I can upload it, my PowerPoint along with this video, and I'm going to hit publish. Now I'm in Stream and I have the video, and here it is. To my presentation, we'll be talking right here. Now what's cool is I can hit the ... menu, and people can download that PowerPoint that was attached with it because I uploaded it, or download the full video. So really nice features built into Stream, and this can also be put into a channel in Teams and have a whole set of Stream videos with the PowerPoint lectures ready to go, and you have analytics on these things. So really powerful when it is inside of Stream.
We're talking about live, when we're actually connected to our students in whatever way. The platform doesn't matter, it's just those connections, and what are we going to do to make the best use of those connections. And so I have discovered in my remote learning journey that the best use of my time can be done all within the same tool in PowerPoint. So I'm going to share with you a recorded lesson of a live synchronous session I had with my students. All right. And so before my students were able to do what you're about to watch, what I did is I shared the document with them. And once you share a document with them, you can do it through a link. You can do it through a QR code. There's many ways to share a document with your students, right? If you're using Microsoft Teams, you can share that link directly into the Teams general channel or a group channel, or you can add a tab. So that's a totally other lesson on Teams, but it works very well. But it doesn't have to be Microsoft Teams. Any way you can share a link with them or have them scan a QR code in your meeting, they'll be able to share the document. You'll notice in the video we're about to watch that I am talking to my students at the same time they're working in the shared document. So you will keep your live meeting going, so you'll be able to hear them, but you'll be able to see them working in the document. So let's see how that works. Hi friends, welcome to our game of Switch It Online using Microsoft PowerPoint in a Teams meeting. Right now I see Giselle and Aurora both on slide 1. I want you to go to slide 2, Giselle, and Aurora go to slide 3. Word. Are you ready? I want you to say the word first. First word is truck. I drive a blue truck. 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 Pull, I want to hear the sounds as you pull them. Okay, now we're set. My reading teacher friends, I see that they're making the mistake because I can see all those slides over there. I see they're both putting the wrong beginning sound. And so I'm about to stop them and correct them. The struggle is real and the struggle is learning. You know what I mean. Isn't this a great opportunity to catch those struggles? And then we have time to explain it even remotely, right? Okay, let's everybody stop, hands up. One clap. Clap once if you can hear me. Clap 2 times if you can hear me. 2 snaps if you can snap. Okay, let's think about the word truck. What do you hear at the beginning of truck? It's like train. Train. Right now, both of you have the same thing at the beginning. What sound does this make? Aurora, the first sound you put is, what does this diagraph say? This says cha? Right. So does train start with ka? No. All right, so go check that out. Giselle, just read these 2 sounds together. Blend them together. I moved that on purpose. I don't want her to see what you did. Just read this part. Because when you look up into your brain up there, into your, just at the beginning. That's what she's having trouble building. Turr. As soon as she was about to give up, we jumped in. Good job. Stuck. I am stuck. All of those on the side, the slide viewer, you can see the letters moving on each slide. Even though I'm only focusing on one student slide right now, right in front of me on the big screen, I can see all of the slides. And that's pretty amazing. So I can kind of monitor the whole room and I can see who's getting stuck and where they're all having the same problem, right? So let's get back to it. Good job. I like the way you sound out loud this time. Okay, so good job. Thank you, Aurora, for covering up the part she was reading. Let me do some housekeeping. So now we're going to go from slim to that W's tricky. To slam. Please do not slam the door. Slam. Slam. I need to hear some sounds. Slam. Good job, ladies. Good Giselle, you got it? Okay, now we're gonna go from slam to slack. Somebody that's not working very hard is slacking. Slack. Or something that's very loose has slack. Say the word. Slack. So, the next one, you're going to like this word. But you're not going to get one yet. All right? The best part of tutoring time at school is snack. So go from slack to snack. Go. The word is snack. Snack. So while they're working, you'll notice that I'm doing some housekeeping, especially on the students that don't put their tiles back. And you'll see my pointer, the teacher pointer, of course. So that's a tip. Maybe you need to do some housekeeping for them too. Not all of them. Some are pretty neat. Good job. Good job, ladies. Amazing job today. What do you guys think of today's board?
I think it was good.
I guess you guys get some more stars.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up? What was the difference today and yesterday?
Today stars.
Today you got stars. You like to get stars?
And the cards were different. Yeah. And some of our letters were different.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're on a different word list. So would you guys like to play again, or you've had enough for today? We went fast today. Yesterday this took us 30 minutes. Today only like 10.
Hey, how can I start with a sport?
Oh, that's a great idea. So I'm going to stop the recording then, because some people want to see how to play Switch It like this. All right? So do you guys have any advice for the students that are going to play like this?
Make sure to not get distracted and stay away.
So, I hope you have found this session on discovering the power of PowerPoint in remote learning helpful in engaging your students and really thinking about how we're going to deliver instruction, and most importantly, how are we going to support students as they learn. That's the objective of teaching, right? Is that they learn and grow in their progress. I hope you found this session helpful, and I invite you to redeem the session code in the Microsoft Educator community so you can receive points for this session towards your Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert certification. I look forward to working with you in the future, and good luck on your remote learning journey.
Thank you so much, Miss Stormy. It was amazing.
I think I have like 2 more minutes. I
Yes.
just want to, sorry, I couldn't turn the sound off. I apologize for that. But this lesson is included in this wakelet that I'm going to share with the audience, and they can watch it on their own, kind of an on-demand. So when they're thinking about planning for their lessons, they can watch that again. I do have a couple tips right here, and within Wakelet, I filmed this with Flipgrid, with the Flipgrid camera, and below on the document that I'm sharing, you're going to see a bunch of resources that will help them use PowerPoint Live with their students, and resources I couldn't share in 20 minutes. So do I have 2 minutes and 55 seconds left?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. So hi, I want to make a quick tutorial on how to share in PowerPoint first. So when you share your document with your students, I'm going to come over here to PowerPoint, and I'm in PowerPoint 365 online web version, right? So I click share, and then depending on your organization and who has access to it, right? So my students have access to within our district, so I would share with people in the district. And once I click that, I need to allow them to edit it. If I do not allow them to edit, then they can see it, but they won't be able to do work in the PowerPoint that you saw in the presentation. So if I say anyone with the link, you see I cannot allow editing. This might be different in your district. You could send to specific people. So all the same way you share any document, but it's important to allow editing if you want them to work collaboratively. All right. So I'm going to cancel that. The next thing I want to show real quick is how to do a live slideshow. So I'm going to click slideshow on the top. Again, I'm in the Office 365 version here. So I could present from the beginning. I could prevent, the normal ways. I'm going to click here, present live. There, I get to choose my audience. I did not know this was possible, so I really just messed up. If you were just in my last presentation, I apologize for that, but this is why. So I had it set to only people in your organization. If I want to present just to my students, then of course, that's a great way to keep it safe, right? I want to present to anyone. And then when I present live, whoever uses this code can use it for anyone. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, your participants can scan this code or they can join here. As soon as I click on it as the presenter, you'll notice that my presentation is starting. And this is now what they'll see. If I click here on these little, it looks like a little radio, I can copy the link again. I can show the welcome screen again. I can also show the audience reactions or not. Maybe I don't want a bunch of emoticons coming over my screen when I'm presenting, right? Sometimes it's fun, but maybe not. So real quick tips on what that's going to look like from the presenter side of PowerPoint Live. Hope that helped.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stormy. It was amazing. And I do agree with you when you said like setting the objectives of each class beforehand is very essential part to keep you on track. As for the techniques you've showed us are very beneficial. I love the idea of recording yourself and how you interacted with your students and all of that. So people are just asking you to share with them this video if you can, please.
Yes, I will share the link to the Wakelet document or Wakelet board, I guess they're called. And then they can access it, they can use it, they can contact me, whatever.
Thank you so much.
Yes, the reason I pre-recorded the session is so they see an example of what they could do with their students. And then while I was in the presentation earlier, maybe right now there wasn't so many glitches, but somebody was able to tell me that they couldn't hear me. So I could fix that, but the sound was still working. So I can work on the side with students. And I teach 6 and 7-year-olds, so they have no idea that that's recorded. They think I'm live there. But at the same time, somebody can't connect or somebody needs help or a parent has a question. And that's why I found PowerPoint to be the most beneficial tool. You know, I know of a lot of great things, but it was easy to do everything together and be done, right? So I
thank you so much for your ideas. Before moving on, we have just like one or two questions.
Yes.
Sibel Baitur said, is this a pet version of PowerPoint?
The presentation is in Office 365, the live PowerPoint. And so that is free. And in the document I'm sharing information on how educators and students can sign up for Microsoft 365 for free. So that part is free. Some of the recording features are in the standalone version, so it would depend. But as far as presenting in PowerPoint Live and collaborating, it's free.
Thank you so much. So we should move on to the third speaker. Ms. Hafsa Kazim, you can have the floor.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mariam. Thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me. And I would just like to, I was just trying to, experience the screen sharing. Okay. Right? Can you see the screen?
Yes, perfect.
All right, great. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to enlarge it. Go. Yes. Okay. I'm trying to zoom. Yes. Sorry, just got the zoom button off. Is that okay now?
Yes, it's perfect.
Good. Right. First of all, thank you so much, Global Bus Foundation, for the invitation. It was a pleasure listening to our respected speakers who preceded me. My topic today, can everybody hear me well?
Yes, everything is perfect.
Good. So today the topic I'm going to speak about, it's a very vast topic, but I'll try to put it in a nutshell because of the limited time. It's integrating ICT in EFL or ESL classroom. And my focus is going to be on the integration and then the benefits and the challenges. Mariam has already introduced me well. So this is, I've got about 32 years of teaching experience, all at tertiary level in different countries. And I've been teaching students, mostly graduates and postgraduate students. And I've been teaching language and literature both. And my, sorry, I've got a bad throat, sorry, because of the heat. My expertise is in poetry, especially practical criticism. Okay, so the objectives today are, of course, the introduction, the definition. We'll just go one by one. Since the time is limited, I'll just run over. Now, what is ICT? ICT is a generic term. It's a combination of two technologies, information technology and the communication technology. So when you combine them, it's ICT, information and communication technology. It includes all the technological tools, which our first speaker from Nepal has already pointed out to, and different instructional resources used to communicate, as well as design, develop, disseminate, and manage information. So that's ICT. ICT is actually a very generic term. It's a very vast term, which includes different kinds of technologies. The ICT technologies include different websites, different applications, different gadgets, storage data, and it's a special means. It's the inclusion of all those technologies which are being used for collecting, editing, storing, analyzing, and sending and receiving information in all its various forms at various levels from various parts of the world. So there's a variety of everything, I would say. Now, our main focus is, of course, on how ICT is helping teachers and learners. Now, especially during the COVID time, the COVID-19 period, this pandemic period, we know that the forefront soldiers are the healthcare workers and the doctors. But I would also salute all the educationists and the teachers who have been doing a great job keeping the students active even during these non-active days, keeping the students motivated, keeping them engaged in all kinds of healthy informational, educational activities. So how does ICT help teachers and learners? Now, one of the things that stepping into the 21st century, and as the UNESCO has already set it as it's one of its fundamental guidelines, that each country, each individual has to become an integral part of teaching and learning process through technology. ICT is therefore facilitating the acquisition of information globally. It is helping teachers and learners to disseminate knowledge and communicate in all areas of education and training. Now, when I talk about all areas of education and training, it refers to not only language acquisition, but it refers to all those scientific fields, educational fields, economical, financial, mathematical, engineering, medical, all those fields that education has under its umbrella. The other factor concerning ICT is motivating learners and teachers alike. With the use of ICT, the learners who are either demotivated, lowly motivated, they get motivational energy, which enhances their learning process. Besides that, ICT also helps in building critical thinking faculties, which are a very important part of today's job market. ICT also makes our classes more dynamic and interesting in different ways by including all those different tools, teaching tools, technological tools, by combining, by having blended learning or by having pure technological learning. It is making the learning environment not only interesting, but also dynamic. It is also a tool to revive a teacher's enthusiasm, because a teacher becomes more interactive with the students at any time and in different ways. And ICT does help a teacher to acquire new pedagogical skills and techniques. Now, ICT is also very useful in helping the students to understand abstract concepts more clearly. I do remember the days when basically I was a science student, and when the science teacher used to teach the structure of a molecule, the atoms and the protons, the nuclear, I was struggling in my imagination to form a model of an atom or a molecule. How does it happen? We were shown videos on those age-old projectors, but somehow I could not get that concept clear in my mind. Secondly, when the biology teacher used to teach us the cell structure, it was never clear in my mind. I could not encompass the whole structure. So all those concepts which lay vague in my mind, ICT helped me as a student and as a teacher to get those abstract concepts comprehended more clearly. Now, what are the ICT tools? Our speakers have already pointed out to them. We have plenty of ICT tools. They can be the gadgets like computers and mobiles and tablets. Of course, internet is the most important one, where we can collaborate with people all around the world, communicate with them. We have broadcasting technologies, e-libraries, different blogs, Wikipedias, applications, MOOCs, and our first speaker, Mr. Bipal, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. So he has already discussed that. And Mrs. Danielle, she has already pointed out to PowerPoint, the power of the PowerPoint presentations. We have digital stories, interactive quizzes, and lots of more activities, exercises, quizzes, what mentioned. Now, what the intellectuals have their thoughts, they are visionaries because they think about ideas, they fancy those ideas, concretize those ideas, which an ordinary person would say 50 years after, 100 years after. So we have these educationists and psychologists who already conceptualized the learning process, the change and the evolution of the learning system and the technology, how it is going to be incorporated slowly and gradually. But we have seen with the pandemic, it has been incorporated very rapidly and randomly. Now, children are active learners and thinkers. ICT has helped the process of learning and thinking, critical thinking in them. And John Dewey, he said that learning should be relevant and within a meaningful context. And here we see how ICT is helping task-based learning and assisting the students and the teachers both in how they can cooperate, integrate technologies into task-based learnings. Children are also very social beings. Children learn more through social interaction. And ICT is one of those platforms where children can communicate around globally with peers, with the different educators, learners across the world, nationally, internationally. And this enhances their process of learning. It widens their horizons of critical thinking. Children also learn through effective scaffolding by adults. So here we see that the role of a teacher is no more, it's not in any way lessened, or it is less important with the income of, or with the integration of the information and communication technologies. The role of the teacher is always a pivotal role. It's a crucial role in the learning process. That it's only that the teacher has been assigned more roles. In addition to being a teacher, she is a facilitator. He or she, the teacher, is a facilitator, is a purveyor, is a collaborator, is an IT specialist also in the modern days. Now we are coming to why is ICT in teaching and learning important? We have various points which I would like to focus on. Why is ICT so important? And it's considered very important now. In fact, it's one of the most important skills that any educator should acquire, and at the same time, any learner should acquire. Is my voice clear? Because I can feel I've got a sore throat.
No, everything is clear, Mrs. I just want to remind you that you have 7 minutes left.
Oh, 7 minutes. So we have these effective ways to connect with the students. It enhances, of course, interaction and collaboration, engages students more dynamically, and it creates an active learning environment. It's also making the students more responsible by creating new learning experiencing and helping them to achieve the objectives of their lessons. It is assisting the teaching of difficult concepts, as I told you, and the participation of the students is almost full-time, I would say, in this process. Now, integration of ICT holds, I would say, ICT integration in teaching learning is search relevant. The information that is acquired, it is retrieved later on. The information is decoded, and later on it is critically evaluated in different forms of knowledge. Now, we say higher order of thinking skills are acquired through ICT. It's what I just abbreviate it as acronym. I use the acronym HOTS. The skills acquired through ICTs is keeping in line with Bloom's taxonomy. It is to remember knowledge, to understand the knowledge acquired, then to apply the knowledge, to analyze the knowledge, evaluate it, and the final stage is very important, that is to recreate it, create the knowledge. Now, integration of ICT helps us in having efficiency and effectiveness and innovativeness in our students. The rules that we follow in ICT integration should be that the learners must be confident enough and trained enough to use the computers. They should have the ability to use the graphics, the simulations, and how to model learning. They should be familiar with different applications, different modes of communication to computers. And they should also have an awareness of how the ICT information, the ICT environment is a challenging environment. And the students have to be made responsible. Now we have the digital techniques that are included into the ICT integration. We have the word processing that includes the documents, notes, the projects, and the assignments that we give to the students. We have the spreadsheets for recording and for exam scores and recording grades and all that. We have the database of information storage, the graphic softwares, multimedia kits, games, and all that for simulations. And of course, tasks that are online and that include online learning process. If ICT tools that include broad categorization are information tools that provide information, situating tools that are that you have a hands-on experience, near to direct experience. Those are games and different applications are used like Kahoot and Moodle and all that. We have constructive tools also that manipulate or visualize the knowledge that is acquired. And then finally, we have the communication tools, which help the learners and the teachers to facilitate communication, collaborative learning takes place, and to exchange their information and knowledge. Now, when we are on an ICT platform, an ICT platform must have, it should ensure a learner's engagement throughout the process. So in this regard, we have the multisensorial delivery. When I talk about multisensorial delivery, I talk about the multiple intelligences, how they appeal to the multiple senses of the learner, and how they facilitate the learning of facilitate their learning. We have to ensure that active learning is taking place. It should not be a passive environment. It should be an active cooperative learning, including all the different teams, groups of learners, and we should also provide opportunities for communication and provide the motivation. We must, while we are using the ICT integration, we are integrating ICT in our classrooms, we must take into consideration the pace of learning process and the quality of learning that is taking place. Now, the impacts and the strategies we have, our ICT strategies must be high quality. They should be meaningful. That means meaningful learning should take place. They should be culturally responsive also. The content that you're including in your classrooms should be culturally responsive, and it must be made available to both the teachers and the learners. Teachers must also have the knowledge and the skills how to use these new digital tools and resources, how to apply them, and how to help their students also to achieve, to use them, to apply them, and achieve high academic standards. ICT literacy is very important regarding this, and not only ICT literacy, since ICT is developing and it's advancing day by day. So technological development is very important for both the teachers and the learners. The effective and efficient use of ICT hardware, gadgets and tools is also very important. Pedagogy-based ICT should be used and integrated into the classrooms. It should be managed properly, and we should try to adopt the techniques and the technologies which involve innovative practices. Now, the role of the teachers and the learners, I'll just have to be quick on that. So,
yes, Ms. Hafsa, you only left with 1 minute.
Okay, I would request 5 minutes. So a learner should have continuous progress in this field of technology. The teacher has to be a planner. She should have the maximum planning done before time. The teacher should also have computer-aided teaching techniques. The teacher should keep in mind the evaluation techniques that are to be employed. ICT, as I said, now what are the benefits of ICT? ICT is for anyone, everyone, anywhere, everywhere, anytime, and every time. Okay, now, since I have less time, I'm just challenges. Now, what are the challenges? There are lots of challenges, but I'm just going to highlight the key challenges that have come across. The first is lack of or absence of internet facilities at home, in the classrooms, in the educational institutions. Then it is the ICT expertise or the ICT literacy that is a great hindrance. Lack of expertise to effectively harness the power of new information and communication technologies is a great hindrance in making them in integrating the ICTs in the classroom. Students and teachers sometimes do not have sufficient access to digital technologies, especially in the remote areas. And sometimes essential conditions for ICT learning are not met. They could be social, they could be personal, they could be environmental, they could be financial. Like some of my students were not having their laptops at home, or during this pandemic time, a family would have only one laptop, but there would be 5 or 6 children who would be having online classes simultaneously. So that was another issue that hinders the integration of ICT. But I would appreciate my university that they provided those students with laptops instantly to our students. Now, the challenges, as one of the educationists, Hal Grother, he said, though the educational potential of the internet is limitless, it is becoming apparent that wired students use technology less to learn than distract themselves from learning. This is another thing. This is one of a very sensitive issues that we as teachers face. Sometimes lowly motivated students, or sometimes even highly motivated students, they get distracted with the use of ICTs. This is why the teacher has to manage along with the integration of the ICTs, classroom management has to be taken into great consideration. Okay, am I well on time?
Okay.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hafsa.
Thank you.
I don't think we will be answering any questions for now, but if we have any time left, we will return to it. So I think we will move. Thank you so much for this amazing talk. I mean, like, yes, ICT, integrating ICT in our classes is very beneficial, not only for our learners, but also for us as teachers, and we get to learn more skills from it. So now, thank you so much again, Ms. Hafsa, and now we can move to our last speaker, Mr. Abdelmonem Lagmidi. Can you please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mariam.
Thank you so much.
I just wish I had 30 minutes instead of 20 minutes.
You had
Thank
an
you so much.
amazing talk. Thank you.
very much. Thank you.
Mr. Abdelmonem, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Miriam.
Okay. Ms. Hafsa, could you please stop sharing your screen?
Yes. Yes, I will. I'm just, okay. Stop sharing. Yes.
Okay, the floor is yours, Mr. Abdelmonem.
Okay. So it's a pleasure for me to be among these distinguished presenters, okay, international presenters. And it's a pleasure for me to be, presenting here today for the first time as a Global BAS Foundation member, a young GBF leader based in City Suleiman. In aligned with the presentations that the other presenters have given, I'm going to start by stating like the topic, which is integrating ICT, a choice or a must. I'm going to say that ICT is both a choice and a must because you have to work, you have to use it, and the choice concerning which platform and the way you are going to use the ICT. And the topic of my presentation is teaching online hints and tips. I'm going to start with what does it mean to teach online? It's about setting clear learning goals. Okay, so we know that nothing can be achieved without planning and without goals and aims and objectives. Mastering your go-to platforms. You should know what platform you should use, and planning your lessons according to your students' level, needs, and preferences. So far, we see that it's similar to the face-to-face planning, and having good management skills. You should be a good manager like in the physical classroom, using gestures, okay, building a good rapport with students, and providing ongoing feedback. I'm going to start with a distinction between like the flipped classroom and blended learning. So we have in the flipped classroom, we have what we usually do in the classroom, we do it outside the classroom, and what we do outside the classroom, we do it, inside of the classroom. For example, we come to the classroom presenting the lesson. In the flipped paradigm, we present the lesson before coming to the classroom. By using videos, presentations. Okay, it's similar to what Ms. Daniels have done using PowerPoints and videos. And blended learning, it's similar in some ways to the flipped classroom in that it enables teachers to use online tools to facilitate learning outside of the classroom, but it does not, okay, it does not replace the actual teaching in the classroom, rather than it complements it. Okay, so we start with, teaching inside of the classroom, presenting, doing exercises and practices, and we complement, okay, what we have done in the classroom outside of the classroom via videos, okay, and recorded lessons. And we're going to move to the question, why become an online teacher? Okay, that's a fundamental question. And a number of teachers were asked the same question as part of a survey by the Cambridge Assessment and in the Future Learning platform. And they've had these, answers, these responses. Of course, the list is not exhaustive, and maybe you'll find yourself aligned with one of these, responses. So for example, Jad said, I became an online tutor initially because I wanted to keep up to date with the trends in teaching, which means that if you want to be, you want to be up to date with the teaching trends, the new teaching trends, you have to become an online teacher. You have to do it, to practice the online teaching. And for example, Korean said, I wanted something to complement my main schedule. I didn't have a lot of teaching hours, and I wanted something that was flexible, okay? Which means that she became an online teacher just to complement, okay, her schedule. And Marik, for example, said, I wanted to cut down on commuting time because I was teaching private language classes far from my home, which means that teaching at ease at home, okay? And you have my line manager approached me about doing some online tutoring because no one of my colleagues seemed particularly interested in taking the work on. So we have different, okay, purposes of becoming an online teacher. Okay, some say that, some say that they became online teachers just because nobody accepted to do so. Some of because of the the distance, the great distance between the place of work and their home, and others said that they wanted to practice this new trend of teaching, which is the online teaching. Here we have the teaching skills for the online environment. It starts with setting clear learning objectives and goals. Okay, we should start with a needs analysis before commencing the classes. We should know our students, their needs, their abilities. Okay, because we have, mixed abilities inside of every class, and we should have a free consultation session via Zoom, Skype, okay, or any other platform, just a free consultation session to know better your students and their aims and their needs. Or a follow-up with a questionnaire, for example, in Google Forms or Microsoft Forms, you ask them some questions, okay, to know about your students' interests and level. Establish goals, okay, time frame, out of class learning activities, and the rules. And you notice that it's the same thing that we do out in the face-to-face classroom. In the real classroom, we do it in the online classroom. So we have like establishing the goals, setting out a time frame, okay, and setting out also the extra, okay, curricular activities and also the rules. And we have here, plan your lessons just like your face-to-face lessons. For example, you start with the lesson aim, the objective that we were talking about, the stages of the lesson, okay, either the pre, while, and post, or the presentation, practice, pre-production, okay, and the materials needed, okay, the links that you are going to use, the websites, and the apps and platforms that you are going to need, and the language analysis. For example, we are going to start with pronunciation, okay, meaning, form, okay, the language analysis or the language area that you are going to address, and the procedures, okay, not very detailed. You might just use the sticky notes as it's seen there in the picture, a sticky note, okay, about what you are going to do, okay, a quick planning note about problems and solutions as well, or technical issues, as we see in today's conferences and webinars. So there are technical issues, so we should always have plan B, okay, solutions. And the management skills, okay, an online teacher should be a good manager. So we have adapting tasks, okay, if you have some tasks, you should adapt them to the level of the learners in order not to have some disruptive behavior or problems with your students, even online. And check if your learner or if your learners understood you, okay? How? So you should use CCQs, okay? The concept checking questions. Do not ask your students, did you understand? Did you know what I was talking about? But rather the CCQs, the concept checking questions. For example, ask them, can you give me a sentence using this and that, okay? Can you explain what does this and that mean, for example? And clear and simple instructions. Always use simple instructions and demonstrate the activity first. For example, if you are giving them an activity, for the first item, you should demonstrate it. You should say, okay, in the first one, this is the key. And simple troubleshooting, for example, the webcam, audio, and Wi-Fi. This we are going to talk about in the materials needed. And we have here the gestures. Okay, as we saw in Ms. Danielle's video, she used a lot of gestures with the kids. Okay, for example, clap one if you hear me, clap two if you hear me. Okay, or the magic hand or any other gesture that might help you with the management of your online lesson. So to show that you are listening, like what you have in the picture. Okay, I'm listening to you. I'm listening carefully to what you're saying, or to give immediate feedback or praise. Okay, very good. Okay, very good, excellent. You're very excellent. And to invite learners to speak. Okay, we should use some gestures to invite them to speak. To show pronunciation features. Okay, by claps or counting fingers. Okay, to highlight some pronunciation features. To correct students' errors. Okay, we use, for example, the paralinguistic, way to correct students' errors. For example, if your students say, something like, yesterday I go to the supermarket, you say, yesterday I passed. And he says or she says, yesterday I went to the supermarket. And building good rapport with your students. Use your students' names, because when your students know that you know their names, I mean, they become very interested to attend your classes and to learn the language. For example, you should not say, hey, you with the blue t-shirt there. Hey, you with the books background behind you. No, you should use the names. And to personalize examples, okay, while using examples to teach your students, you should personalize them. Okay, it's not always about the policeman who arrested, I mean, the criminal or something. It's about using the environments. Okay, personalize the examples you're using with your students, and praise to boost their confidence. You should use, for example, emojis or verbal praising. Okay, you say very good. Okay, to give them immediate feedback in order to motivate them. Okay, or smile. Just a simple smile might help your students and invite them to participate more. Okay, create a Google Drive folder for them. Okay, listen to them carefully. Okay, it's a good way of building rapport with the students. And set up the teacher's questionnaire. Okay, of satisfaction every 2 months or 2 weeks. Okay, it depends to you. So we should have a satisfaction questionnaire to know the areas where you have problems with your students. Okay, it's what we call the assessment for learning. Okay, it's the formative type of assessment. And provide ongoing feedback. So, and feedback is very important in language teaching and learning. By in the end of the lesson, ask students, what did you learn? Okay, what was interesting, not interesting? Okay, so these are some of the ways to prompt your students to answer, okay, and to give you feedback. The feedback, of course, can be oral. The feedback you are giving to your students can be oral, okay? Asking some questions, why, when, and how. For example, using some tools like voice recorder, record yourself, okay, giving feedback to your students. It's in the phone, integrated in your mobile phone, or use Vocaro. It's a website that allows you to record your voice and give oral feedback to your students. And the written feedback is very important too, okay, using the same questions. And you use, for example, the email, Google Docs, screencasts via Zoom or, okay, Skype or any other platform that you're using. So the feedback can be either, I mean, oral via recorded tools or written, okay, via emails or Google Docs on any other platform you're using. And what equipments are needed? This is a fundamental question. I mean, some teachers, while being asked the same question, especially the teachers who have very limited knowledge or exposure to ICT in teaching, while being asked the same question, what kind of feedback they are going to need, are they going to need? So the expectations is like this. So they started imagining, I mean, like the VR or something, some robots teaching students, or some aliens or things, I mean, outside of this world talking to students. But the reality is this. So we have a laptop or a desktop with a camera, okay, a decent camera, a headset with a microphone, okay, a stable internet connection, okay, and platform for teaching live. You should know the platform that you're going to use. A whiteboard is very important, okay, to illustrate that. We are going to talk about it, the virtual whiteboard, and pictures. Okay, we all know the importance of pictures in teaching and education, and puppets, okay, and reality, real objects that you are going to bring in order to, okay, to make learning more concrete, though you showing them in front of the camera. And which platform should I use? That's the first question we should ask ourselves before starting. So ask yourself what your needs are. Okay, what do you need? Because what the needs dictate which platform you are going to use. Are you going to teach, for example, one-to-one or groups or both? Okay, what kind of activities do you want to do? So, for example, some activities you need, you should, okay, choose the best or the suitable platform that might help you to achieve those activities. And two types of teaching. We have the synchronous type of teaching. Ms. Danielle talked about this. So for example, we have Zoom, Skype, Webroom, WebEx, Whereby, and Microsoft Teams. And we have the asynchronous way of teaching, or the platforms of teaching, like for example, Edmodo, the Google Classroom, which I like because it's I mean, it's usable. It's friendly to use by teachers, and Moodle or any other LMS, learning management system. And Microsoft Teams, again, because we see that Microsoft Teams is a platform for asynchronous teaching and synchronous way of teaching. And we have here the distinction between the two, I mean, some of the advantages of these two. So for example, the synchronous way of teaching is students learn at the same time, and we know that students learn at different times. And again, we have here communication happens in real time, while here it's communication is not live, okay? And here it's the synchronous way of teaching is more engaging and effective, whilst the asynchronous one is more convenient and flexible in time. And the synchronous way of teaching allows for instant feedback and clarification. For example, if there is a problem, if there is a communication breakdown, okay, you might interfere and clarify things. And the asynchronous way of teaching allows students to work at their own pace, okay?
I'm sorry to interrupt, yes. Mr. Munim. You only have nearly like 2 minutes, but if you could do it like in 1 minute, it will be great.
Yes, I'm going to try. So we have the platform features. So we have these features dictates which platform you are going to use. So these are some usual features, for example, like the whiteboard, the chat box, recorded session, breakout rooms, whole class discussion, screen sharing, and annotation tools. I'm going to talk about them briefly. So we have the virtual whiteboard. Okay, it's very important because it helps you to draw or upload a picture to introduce the topic of the lesson. Okay, it can be used in the introduction phase, the pre-phase of the lesson, and it helps you to take notes of emergent language. That is the vocabulary that you are going to pre-teach, okay, before you start the lesson. And it helps you to give delayed feedback. You might take notes to give delayed feedback later on while students finish the session. And these are some useful websites and tools that you can use to use the whiteboard. So you have here the Google Jamboard, which is the best one, and you have whiteboard.fi. And this is an example of the Google Jamboard. It's an example of a collaborative sticky notes by students. Okay, they collaboratively, produce this. And we are going to talk about the chat box uses. It's very important. And this is a Zoom chat box. It helps you to display errors, okay, elicit corrections, and it helps you to elicit student answers and give instructions. Okay, for example, when you give instructions orally, you might write the instructions in the chat box for students to go back to the chat box whenever needed. And the breakout rooms, they are very important if you have an activity that dictates to you or that demands that students should work in pairs or in groups. Okay, and students can practice role plays, and it is effective for shy students, okay, because they are not in the spotlight. They are now working with another student or other 3 students, okay, and it helps in practicing the lessons, for example, either agreeing or disagreeing and ranking tasks also. Again, we're going to talk, the last thing, we're going to talk about the screen sharing and annotation tools. It helps you to give students agency and allow them to share screen, annotate on the board, present materials and elicit ideas from students, highlight important bits, okay, and it helps you to share audio, okay, only, and share your screen too. And it helps in collaborative activities. For example, if you have a collaborative activity, you might send students to work in, to write in the Google Docs, okay, and they can work collaboratively in the documents there to complete the writing, task. Again, recorded session, record your session. This is very important phase, okay, for professional development. It's helpful for the teacher, okay, because when the teacher records the session and watch the session and rewatch it again and again, he gets informed practices and informed decisions about what he's going to do next. Okay, it's good for self-observation and reflection. It gives, the recording to your students. You might give it to your students to watch it again and again and benefit from it. And it's good for revision and note taking. And it might, okay, help you track your students' progress. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abdelmonem. We're sorry that you finished hastily. Like we have another session at 8 sharp, so we're sorry for that. And for your talk, it was very enriching and very full of good ideas and theories and all of that. Thank you so much for everything. It was amazing. I don't think we will be answering any questions due to the time limitations, but does anyone have anything to add, like you speakers?
Yes, I would like to say that, we are just, there's an explosion of different ICTs and different gadgets and not gadgets, the applications and all different platforms. As a teacher, we have to be very selective. Yes, we are experiencing right now, we are in that, transitional stage where we are moving from not traditional, but I would say blended to completely ICT based learning process. So we have to be very selective with our platforms that we select. The ones that are good for me or my students may not be equally useful for you or your students. So it is in keeping with the content we are teaching, the learning environment we have, the socio-cultural norms that we have in our environment. All these things count a lot. So as a job, as our teacher's job, we have to be very selective with the platforms we use, with the websites we use, with the content we use. This is why a teacher's role will always be a pivotal role to play in the learning process. A teacher has to be the leader, the guardian of the students, of the learners. And time management is one of the most important features here, as we all experienced screen fatigue when we went into completely online learning and teaching. These are some of the factors that we have to deal with very smartly and very effectively. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comment. Yes, true. I couldn't agree more. So I think we shall wrap up this webinar. As for those who just joined like after we started the webinar, a recorded version will be available in our Facebook page and in Mr. Hussein Qtra's YouTube channel. I write them down in the comment box. If you're searching for more interesting and enriching webinars, go follow them. As for to conclude, I think we have reached the end of today's webinar. I just want to end this with a call to action. And this means that after knowing all of these essential and important information, we should put them to use. We should experiment with them and train ourselves to get better at them. From the current situations, I highly believe that using technology in education will no longer be a side issue. It will definitely be a must for all of us. And it was so pleasant to my ears and my mind to hear and know all of your precious information you provided. We truly appreciate your efforts and time, and thank you so much again.
Thank you, Mariam, and thank you, Mr. Hussein and the Global BUS Foundation. Thank you very much for providing us with a platform. Thank you.
Yes, of course. And if you want to join GBF community, this is for our speakers and for our attendees. Send us your CV and ID card copies. You can send them in Mr. Hussein Qtra's Facebook, and I will write it right down in the comment box.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you so much.
It was so nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe and happy and healthy.
Oh my God, thank you. You too. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you.